Hello, thank you so much for dropping by this video. A warm welcome to anyone who's new. This channel is dedicated to the work and teachings of someone named Bruno Groening. So if you're new and like to learn more, please check out the link posted to the side or below. So, Bruno Groening. Bruno once said, I'm paraphrasing, he said, me and my work cannot be fathomed or understood by the rational mind. Boy, has that been true in my case. Who can even begin to fathom Bruno Groening? I'm just thinking how I was drawn to Bruno's work, which was just this amazing series of coincidences. And, when I found Bruno's work, I was a complete agnostic, a devout agnostic. And now I can say I don't just believe in God, I know that God is a fact, that it's a fact that there is a higher power at work in our lives. Hey, Samantha. So the other thing on my mind and heart right now is I've had a very radical shift in my view of Bruno's teachings. Bruno says you can't follow God and still be attached to worldly things. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of the essence. And he also said, please don't set the timing of a healing, but endure everything that you need to endure. Again, I'm paraphrasing. But so this has really just reoriented my thinking about what Bruno's really all about. And, it's a very intense thing to not be attached to worldly things. We could spend our whole life striving just on that one thing. And it's not that you can't follow, I don't believe it's accurate. You can't follow God if you have, while having some attachment, but you can't fully follow God. If you're attached to worldly things, then in essence, you're putting it over God. And attached is very different than liking or enjoying or appreciating, but, like attached. So that's where my attention has been the last couple months, thinking about what it means to be detached, thinking about what it means to be patient when things don't heal as quickly as I want them to heal, and not even having it's very easy to put healing first, but that's not what Bruno Groening taught at all. I believe, my understanding, is he taught a way of life. And, it can be frustrating when something doesn't heal as quickly as we like. It is for me anyway, especially because I started this path. I just had healing after healing after healing. So it's really teaching me surrender and patience. And those are not fun things to learn. Let me tell you, it's fun things to learn. It's fun to learn that nothing is impossible for God and that healings are possible. It's like the most fun thing on the earth to learn. But to learn patience and surrender, not so fun. Not for me anyway. Maybe there's someone else out there who's like, yeah, I love surrendering to God and giving up my desires and attachments. So, there's something about like, hey, a healing is going to take as long as it takes. And certainly there are things we can do to help speed that up. But in the end, it's not up to us at all. I shouldn't say at all. The timing of a healing is not up to us. Bruno even went so far as to say, I'm only able to pass along a healing when would be the right time spiritually for someone. So healing's not going to happen unless it's the right time spiritually. And who can determine that? Not me. In essence, you could barely say that Bruno Groening could determine that, because he would always say, I give it the way God gives it to me. So it's like yes, Bruno can tell when someone is ripe for a healing, but that's just because he knows that from God, right? Like that's not Bruno Groening's opinion. So those are just a few thoughts. Samantha wrote, I find it very difficult to completely surrender myself. I try consciously, but not able to do so. Join the club, Samantha. I would say the struggle of human beings to surrender themselves to God is the cause of all the problems we see in the world today. And it's certainly the cause of every problem in my life, right? That's not to say life won't be without pain, but when I surrender to God, I can just take things as they come. Doesn't mean I like everything that comes. I might even be like, oh God, really? But that's expressing frustration. That's not, it's very different from being like, this shouldn't be happening. You know, that's like a tensing up, and that's not surrender. I struggle with it, and I believe every human being struggles with it. And for me, that's really the bottom line on the spiritual path is surrendering to God. It's like if you could do it perfectly, Samantha, you'd be a master, and I'd be like, teach me, help me. So, with that said, one thing that helps me to surrender is to meditate on something that Bruno said, which is the state of the world is steered by God. Only things that serve as a lesson are allowed to happen. Meaning, everything that happens, the hand of God is there and available. Even the negative things. Said another way, everything happens for a reason, and that reason ultimately is good. The thing that might be happening might not be good, but it ultimately is going to serve the good. As they say, the silver lining. There's always a silver lining. If something bad happens and there's not a silver lining, then in essence, that's saying God isn't in control, right? Imagine a kingdom where the subjects, the king puts out a decree, and then some of the subjects disobey and do something opposite of what the king wants. Well, then the king's not in control, right? So same thing. If something happens in this universe that doesn't serve the good, that isn't ultimately helpful, then God's not in control. So that's been one of the most helpful things for me around surrender, and I hope it's helpful for you. All right, angels, take care, dear ones, and thank you for joining in. Thank you, Samantha, for sharing yourself. Actually, let's just close with a moment or so of prayer, meditation. Really appreciate all of you in this channel, and thanks for sharing yourself, Samantha. Take care.